The 6-week summer holiday is a moment of pure relief for students. But right behind those bursting double doors, in staff rooms across the country, a very familiar anxiety takes hold. Teachers are locked in the annual debate over summer learning. This chart visualizes the reality of the summer slide. It shows a stark drop in academic ground, particularly in numerical fluency, that happens when children step away from the classroom for a month and a half. But stacked right against that data is the equally valid need for pupil well-being. Children are exhausted by July. They require deep, genuine rest to prevent cognitive burnout. The traditional compromise usually involves sending home a thick packet of mandatory worksheets. However, forcing formal tasks on exhausted children during their downtime tends to foster deep resentment. It turns a potential learning moment into a high-stress, box-ticking exercise for the entire household. To maintain cognitive momentum without that added stress, many schools are shifting their perspective. They are moving away from the rigid model of mandatory holiday homework and toward a flexible, voluntary philosophy called bridge work. The word homework arrives with heavy baggage. It implies strict deadlines, obligation, and the threat of castigation if left unfinished. Bridge work, on the other hand, shifts the psychological tone. It frames the tasks as a purposeful connection between academic years, emphasizing personal autonomy and a continuous learning journey. To make this work practically, this animated structure shows how teachers can replace the uniform workbook with a buffet-style choice board. It's a visual menu of activities across various categories, allowing pupils to digest as much or as little as fits their summer schedule. That menu has to be tailored to developmental stages. For Key Stage 1, ages 5 to 7, academic pressure should be entirely absent. The options here are play-based and woven into daily life, like spotting shapes in nature or practicing letter formation in sand. As pupils move into Key Stage 2, the options grow to include active, low-stakes responsibilities. Think keeping a holiday diary or managing a small, self-directed research project on a favorite animal. By secondary education, the branches focus on subject-specific pre-reading for the upcoming autumn term. Older pupils can even take on independent AI prompt crafting, learning how to synthesize complex topics while critically evaluating the output for bias and accuracy. Treating the summer break as an evolving menu of choices rather than a rigid prescription gives students agency. It builds intrinsic motivation to explore, all while keeping cognitive momentum alive. Even the best menu of choices hits a stark educational reality. Parental support, domestic stability, and financial resources are highly unequal across any given classroom. While trips to local museums or interactive paid apps are brilliant options, relying on them as the standard expectation automatically disadvantages vulnerable or low-income students. An equitable choice board guarantees high-quality tasks requiring no external support or special technology. Every single child needs the ability to participate using nothing more than standard writing paper, a simple pen, or items easily found in nature. The goal isn't to promote sporadic bursts of intense study, but rather habit forming. A highly practical way to start this is the library hall. In the final weeks of the summer term, teachers coordinate a trip to the school or public library, ensuring every student leaves with a physical stack of books they selected themselves. Families are then encouraged to carve out a sustainable daily ritual, just 10 to 15 minutes right before bed or first thing in the morning, dedicated strictly to quiet, self-directed reading. By marrying zero-cost task design with small, relaxing daily habits, schools create a robust system. It guarantees that every child can engage with the material, regardless of their circumstances at home. For any summer learning initiative to work, it must adhere to one non-negotiable rule. The work has to remain entirely optional and strictly low stakes. Implementing mandatory summer tasks backed by detentions in September actively damages the teacher-pupil relationship before the academic year even begins. It unfairly punishes children who lacked the necessary environment or support over the holidays. This flowchart illustrates the main vulnerability in the strategy, the autumn transition. Because pupils usually change teachers, the success of summer bridge work depends entirely on a seamless transfer of details from the teacher who set the tasks across to the year group lead receiving the students. Schools need a unified, school-wide handover policy. When the transition is coordinated, the incoming teacher can take the completed summer projects and use them as a fantastic positive icebreaker during the very first week of term. The autumn return becomes a showcase of scrapbooks, library books, and independent research. Pupils arrive back in the classroom feeling a genuine sense of pride and agency in sharing what they chose to explore. By combining an equitable menu of choices with a celebratory September follow-up, schools create an environment where summer learning becomes a voluntary exploration. Teachers stop being enforcers and instead become partners in a student's self-directed growth.